Welcome back to the program. So, it is the most wonderful time of the year. It is that time. It is Christmas time, but it's also the Festivus time of Senator Rand Paul, where he gets to tell you all the wonderful things your government has spent money on. Things that will blow your mind. And if you read Preserving Liberty, which many of you have, you will know many of the weird and crazy things that I put in the book that also were part of those Festivus in prior years, like having shrimp on a treadmill and having rattlesnakes fighting each other. I mean, just crazy, crazy things. So here is Rand Paul right here talking on Fox News Business about this year's lovely Festivus. Here we go.
You're coming out with the Festivus report on government waste and frivolity, I guess it would be called. That's on December 23rd, you release it. Can you give us any kind of preview now?
Well, we celebrate Festivus. This is where you air your grievances. I got a lot of problem with these big spenders up here. And so we point out some of the craziness. $2 million spent on teaching people to eat bugs. $1 million teaching ferrets to binge drink alcohol.
$2 million to eat bugs. Now you know that the globalists want us all chomping on crickets, grasshoppers, mealworms, you name it. That's what their goal is.
$250,000 spent on teaching Pakistani kids about climate change. I mean, the ridiculousness of these things that on the face value of it, people would say, I got a lot of problems with that. Most Americans would say, why are we still doing this? A lot of it comes from the National Science Foundation. I think you could eliminate the National Science Foundation.
The National Science Foundation. He said, I think you can eliminate the National Science Foundation. Now, what is the National Science Foundation? Is it a legitimate government agency? Is it a national science foundation? Or is it the NIH and NIAID's version of USAID? That's exactly what it is. It is a huge grift. That's what it is. It has zero to do with science. I covered it in Preserving Liberty, and I called for its elimination in Preserving Liberty. I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did. But I also showed that it's not a legitimate science foundation. It is nothing more than a Democrat Party grift operation. And yes, thank you, Rand Paul, for also saying exactly what I said in Preserving Liberty. Let's listen to that one again. It's important.
I think you could eliminate the National Science Foundation and you would know no detriment to that. We spend billions through the NIH. There's no real reason to have the National Science Foundation.
None whatsoever.
And most of the really crazy, dumb, having fish drink gin and tequila and ask which makes them more aggressive, gin or tequila. I mean, everybody knows it's got to be tequila, right? I mean, that's just crazy.
I knew you were going to say that. I know.
But I don't think that we really, need those kind of studies. Most of them are crazy behavioral studies. Japanese quail on cocaine. I mean, there's just dumb stuff that the average ordinary American would go, well, that's insane. I'm struggling to put food on my plate, and the government's spending money, giving drugs to different animals.
Okay. We'll wait till December 23rd for the full report, and we will devour it at that point. Senator Rand Paul, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for being with us, sir. Appreciate it.
Just insane. Absolutely insane. So that was just some of it. So let's kind of go through some more. $5.2 million to inject Beagles with cocaine and methamphetamines. Again, this is through the NIH. An ongoing project that escalated from $2.3 million in 2022 now includes methamphetamine injections, all on helpless little dogs. You know the section that I put into Preserving Liberty? I think it was titled Beagles, Monkeys, and Orphans, Oh My. Well, a lot of what we know already from them locking their heads in these horrible cages and putting them out in the Tunisian desert and letting sandflies eat at them. I mean, why? What is the point of torturing animals for any scientific reason? There is none. Absolutely none. $13.8 million for Dr. Fauci's maximum pain tick bite experiments on beagles. Again, do you know why, and I say in Preserving Liberty, do you know why they use beagles? Because beagles are the most trusting, sweet breed of dogs. That's why. And as I talk about in Preserving Liberty, not to get too graphic, but they actually remove their vocal cords when they torture these poor animals. So they don't have to listen to them screaming, so they can do their work. These people should have their heads locked in a cage and have ticks eating at them and leave their vocal cords, and let's hear them screaming. That's what they deserve. Unbelievable. These gruesome tests continued under the former NIAID director's legacy, subjecting puppies to agonizing bites without relief. $1 million for dangerous USDA CCP bird flu gain-of-function collaboration, a risky partnership with the Wuhan-linked experimenters in China, raising alarms about potential pandemics. $77 million for the Navy's outdated marine mammal program. Despite congressional pressure to shut this program down, the Navy keeps wasting cash on training seals and dolphins. What are they training them to do? They don't even say. Then it says $2.8 million to implant aborted human fetal tissue into animals for BLT mice. What the hell is that? BLT, to me, sounds like bacon, lettuce, and tomato. So what are you trying to do? Are you literally saying that you're taking human fetal tissue and you are implanting it in mice? Now, I have covered throughout the last 5-6 years numerous shows in the past where you would see a mouse with like a human ear on the mouse, right? Or you'd see like a mouse with like a lip or a nose. I mean, why are we doing this sick, demented Chamorro type of stuff? And your taxpayer dollars are paying for it. Experimenting with grafting bones, liver, and thymus from fetuses into lab rodents. A disturbing use of taxpayer dollars, yet, to say the least. Is that 554 or 5 point? Wow, it's 54. 54 million to the disgraced EcoHealth Alliance. Really? We're still giving money to Peter Disick after what he did with gain of function and admitted it on camera? We're still giving money to EcoHealth Alliance. This group, infamous for its Wuhan lab ties to gain of function research work that may have sparked COVID, keeps getting handouts despite being debarred. $14.6 million to force monkeys to play a Plinko game knockoff. I don't even know what Plinko is. A Plinko game knockoff. Monkeys have holes drilled into their skulls for this bizarre Price is Right style video game experiment. Now, I remember covering these monkeys, and again, in Preserving Liberty, I talk about Beagles, monkeys, and orphans, oh my. The orphans part is where they went in 2004 to Centennial Hospital in New York City. This is also in RFK Jr.'s book, The Real Dr. Fauci, and they literally murdered 200 orphans with AIDS, with experimental drugs and everything else. So sick. So now, the monkey situation, I remember because I've showed you video of it, where they drill these things into their heads. They put this contraption on them so they can't like turn their heads. And then they pour like battery acid and stuff into their brains. I mean, it's some of the sickest, most twisted, demonic, abhorrent things you could possibly imagine. Just what you wanted to hear around Christmas time, huh? Ho, ho, ho. Let's see. $14.6 million to force... Oh, I already said that one. $1 million to create binge-drinking ferrets. Wow. Turning ferrets into alcoholics, because apparently that's a priority for the Veterans Affairs Division. Wow. And there's probably a lot more than that. But here we are again. Now, in fairness, a lot of this money was spent in 2023 and in 2024, early 2024. So technically, most of it was under the auto pen. Since President Trump has taken over, he has, and the NIH have done some things, like they're working with White Coat Waste Project, trying to save these monkeys, trying to save these beagles. So a lot of this stuff, again, was 2023 and 2024. So the question is, what's it going to be like in December of 2026? Are we going to be seeing the same types of things with our government here? Some of this spending was done under NIH this year as well, because this is the 2025 Festivus report. But in this Festivus report, it cuts off in early February of 2025. So a little bit is in that. The majority of it is 23 and 24. Probably late 23 and the majority in 24. So I'm not making excuses here for who's responsible. All I'm saying is, let's hope and pray that when we see the next one next year, we actually have some Christmas cheer here, because they're not spending this insane amount of money. But they're still doing these crazy and weird experiments. And you got to ask yourself why. And the only thing I can think of is that the government is so big and just so out of control that there are so many agencies and so many entities and so many of these left-wing radical extremists in the scientific community that are still working in a lot of these agencies that haven't been cleared out yet, and they are spending our taxpayer money on things like alcohol for ferrets and drilling holes into people's monkeys' heads and all this other crazy stuff. So I don't know, man. I hope it stops. I truly do. But we'll have to see what happens. Anyway, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.